Hey everybody, welcome. This is going to be day one of construction at Crowsnest. If you haven't seen the Crowsnest Re-alignment video, check that one out. That's going to tell you what the plan is for this whole area. One of the most important things to me is to maintain the integrity of the layout, make sure that it's still running. So I'm going to keep the main line in as long as possible during this project. We'll start by pulling out this siding at Crowsnest here. We're at the west switch, and we're just going to try and save as much track as possible. I use latex contact cement for affixing my track to the cork, so if you can get a OLFA blade or any kind of long blade underneath there, it's usually pretty easy. You just slide the blade along the length of the track while giving a little bit of pressure, and it tends to just pop right back up. Of course, there's always going to be a piece that doesn't come out as planned, so just grab hold and give it a good tug. I'm just going to pull this hill out of the way and see how the track goes through the backdrop and what we're going to have to do to get that radius out to the front edge. This is being a little bit tricky, so we're going to pull out the precision instruments here and get that chopped out. Alright, with enough of that out of the way, we can give the tools back over to the construction assistant here and move on. Just going to work my way up the hill, pulling track, pulling any kind of scenery that's in the way, and then I'm going to cut through the cork so I can expose the screws that are holding the roadbed onto the risers. I'm going to try to pull the roadbed relatively intact. I might be able to reuse those radiuses again when I relay the new stuff. Down at the west end here, it's actually a double wide piece of roadbed that's sliced halfway through, and that's how I got the transition between the two grades. So I'm going to just take the handsaw, cut that off, and then we'll be able to get all that roadbed out of the way. Continuing east up the hill, I'm going to take out most of the siding and all the roadbed as well as the scenic base. I want to be able to expose this area so I can see how exactly that track is going to pop through the backdrop and do its 360-degree spin. So as mentioned, I want to make sure that the main line still operates and is still usable. So with all that out of the way, you can see that it frees things up and looks a lot less congested through this area. Having this all down to single track is going to be a lot easier to hide that telepost, and you know I'm constantly ranting about that if you've watched any of my other videos. So with the track coming closer to the front fascia, we'll get more depth because we'll have more scenery behind the track, and that's really going to help blend that backdrop in. Popping into the RTC office, we're going to replace the radius that exists here now, which is 24 inches, with this 36-inch piece. And what that'll do is that's automatically going to take us out closer to the front fascia after we pop through the backdrop. With all that demolition, I wanted to quickly figure out how the construction was going to go, so I did some calculations, and those pencil marks represent the 2-inch clearance necessary to get that roadbed over top of the track that pops through the backdrop. This is going to be the location of the west switch at Crowsnest. And as we look east here, you can see that I got the brackets installed at the end of the RTC office, and I've got the roadbed for the 180-degree turn back loop all spliced together sitting on those brackets waiting for tomorrow. So while I had these radiuses in hand, I was monkeying around and determined that instead of going through this area as I originally planned, it was going to make more sense to go around the outside of this pillar. That'll make it easier to tie everything together on the inside here and give me more flexibility for scenery on the outside. So that's a wrap on day one. Day two, we're going to try and get all this roadbed put into place. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.